Here's your news for October 21st, 2019. We are kicking off with news from tonight's edition of Raw, which will take place at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. This past Saturday, WWE.com released their preview of the show, as the company has put together a big show for tonight. For announced matches, the OC will take on the Street Profits in a mystery partner, while Sin Cara will return to the ring to battle former NXT champion Andrade in what could be a great match if given the time. Not only that, Rey Mysterio will also appear on the red brand, and so will Ric Flair, who will reveal the final member of his team for the Crown Jewel match against Team Hogan. One man who was originally in the match but isn't anymore is Seth Rollins, who will explain why he burned down the Firefly Funhouse on last week's show. From Raw to SmackDown now, as the company has confirmed that Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez will face off at Crown Jewel, but will also cross paths before October 31st. Velasquez, who made his WWE debut on SmackDown's premiere on Fox, will be in attendance for this Friday's Go Home SmackDown for the pay-per-view, and so will Lesnar, with a confrontation between the two being promised by the company. It's clear that Fox really wanted the recently retired MMA star's drawing power on their network, and they'll certainly be getting it this Friday. The question now is, will Velasquez and Lesnar be the key to help remedy the ratings decline SmackDown continues to experience on their new network home? Now, we all know Vince McMahon is a very busy man as he oversees the entire WWE, but that hasn't stopped the chairman of the board from doing some PR work over in Saudi Arabia. On Saturday, an image surfaced online of McMahon alongside The Undertaker in the nation with a message that translates into, "We previously reported that a movement has started online to book The Undertaker at Crown Jewel. That match might not happen on October 31st, but McMahon and the Dead Man were able to spend some quality time in Saudi Arabia." The hashtag that the wrestling club tweet is referring to was started online recently and translates to, "We want Undertaker in Riyadh." Those behind the hashtag have said that they are hopeful that its popularity will help convince Turkish Al-Sheikh, the chairman of the Islamic Solidarity Sports Federation, to let the Dead Man compete. And it's very interesting that the Dead Man was just in the country, even appearing on a giant WWE float alongside an image of Roman Reigns. We mentioned earlier that Sin Cara will be returning to Raw tonight, but the masked luchador recently got some extra attention in the new WWE 2K20 game. A small handful of fans have been able to get the game ahead of tomorrow's release, and one noted something very interesting during Sin Cara's entrance. Fans already know that Cara leaps into the ring thanks to a trampoline, but during what appears to be a story mode in the game, Cara runs to the ring and hits the trampoline just to have it explode underneath him. With Michael Cole's cry of "The trampoline exploded," fans will just have to wait to discover why the masked superstar was flung from his trampoline, and more worryingly, whether WWE will ever attempt the stunt in real life. One superstar who knows plenty about being in WWE games is Randy Orton, though Tommaso Ciampa recently teased a WrestleMania match against the Viper. This challenge comes after Orton challenged The Rock for a match at WrestleMania 36, but since The Rock has said he's retired, the former NXT champion has seized the opportunity. On Twitter, Ciampa wrote, "Considering Randy won't be facing Rock at Mania 36, I guess." Whoever Orton chooses to face, WrestleMania 36 will take place at the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida on April 5th next year, in what will be a noteworthy night indeed for the Apex Predator. From three established stars of WWE to a new face now, as WWE has signed independent star Jake Atlas, according to Dave Meltzer. In his Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer reports that Atlas will appear at the WWE Performance Center in January, and though we don't know if AEW made him an offer, Atlas did turn down both Impact Wrestling and ROH. Atlas has caught a lot of attention thanks to his work in PWG, and after appearing on Undercover Boss with Stephanie McMahon a few years ago, is ready to bring his talent to NXT. Although Atlas may just be starting off his WWE career, one star who may be finishing soon is Kacy Catanzaro, who reportedly requested her release after suffering an injury. The former American Ninja Warrior has been the subject of reports she's been removed from the Performance Center's list of stars, and now no longer appears on the company's NXT roster page. Despite reports that she was waiting and recovering at home, and her boyfriend Ricochet saying she's not leaving, it seems Kacy is doing just that, as Ricochet also said she wants to focus on having a family someday. So far, there's been no official announcement by WWE about Catanzaro's release, but we can assume removing her from the site is a way to quietly let her go. If true, it's a real shame she's gone, as she never got the chance to show what she could do as part of NXT. Speaking of releases, Eric Bischoff's 4-month tenure as SmackDown Executive Director has ended, but his replacement Bruce Prichard has said he still considers Bischoff his friend. On his Something to Wrestle With show, Prichard's one request to the fans was to remember that Bischoff is a real person with a family, and that he'll no doubt be on to his next adventure, saying, "I think he's one of the nicest guys, and he is also a human being. So when you sit there and you make comments through a keyboard or through your phone, and it's a faceless, just random thing, remember that you're making comments about human beings, and you're making comments about real people that have families, and real people that, yes, we're in the public eye and I get that, and to a certain point, say and do whatever the hell it is you want to do. Also remember that it's real life and that we are human and that we do have families, and believe it or not, we have feelings. And I know that Eric will succeed. This is like, he ain't dead. But I just want to publicly wish Eric Bischoff the absolute best in business, life, and everything else because he's a good friend and I'm proud and happy to say that he's my friend." Fans got their first post-Bischoff SmackDown last week, and while it may be difficult to tell the difference, we could see some very interesting ideas come to light if given time. One person who wasn't surprised at Bischoff's firing is AEW commentator Jim Ross, who on his Grillin' JR show compared the WCW magnate to a football coach who was hired to get fired, but also said that Prichard isn't safe either. The whole scenario is set up for a succession process. Do you think Bruce is safe? Do you think Bruce got a job like a Supreme Court justice for life? Are you kidding? He don't think that. I guarantee you don't think that he knows that his time will come. It's like football coaches. They get hired to be fired. Later in the show, Ross seemed pretty positive about the recent shakeup on SmackDown, but Prichard will need to keep his guard up or risk being blamed for SmackDown's plummeting ratings, just like his predecessor. More release news next, as whilst Mike Kanellis only recently signed a 5-year deal with the company, the former 24/7 champion very publicly requested his release not too long ago. Unfortunately for Kanellis, it's up to WWE whether he gets to go or not, as although he's classed as an independent contractor, there is still an exclusive contract involved. According to Brad Shepard, though, the WWE isn't likely to let him out of his contract anytime soon, who said on Twitter that WWE may give him, quote, the Leo Rush treatment, letting him sit at home until he plays nice. Rush, who recently captured the NXT Cruiserweight title, certainly made an impact upon his return, though that doesn't guarantee what WWE will do with Mike Kanellis' situation. A veteran of the industry, Kanellis has a loyal army of fans on his side, which may make WWE hesitate releasing him, as doing so could mean seeing Mike, his wife Maria, and his fans jump ship to AEW. We're focusing on The Rock next, and even though the Brahma Bull is the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, it is clear that Lacey Evans is not a fan. Recently, the sassy Southern Belle uploaded a video of herself placing a picture of her own 8x10 over an image of The Rock, and little did she know that the Great One saw this and responded. In a tweet, the People's Champion asked that if Evans was to do this, she could have at least chosen a more flattering image of The Rock, as he said the image exposed his cheat meal-enhanced midriff. Despite The Rock saying he's not in the best shape in the image, most fans, and us included, would kill to have a physique like the one in the picture, and Evans was quick to respond to the former world champion in her usual confident self. In her reply, Evans corrected The Rock for getting her name wrong earlier on, and even went so far as to claim she has more charisma in her pinky finger than everyone else in the company put together. It's certainly a bold claim from the sassy Southern Belle, but since her prominent booking since being called up to the main roster earlier this year, it may just be a matter of time before Evans holds championship gold, now as part of WWE SmackDown. Speaking of The Rock, though it's been teased that the Great One may face Randy Orton at WrestleMania, there are some very genuine reasons why the match shouldn't happen. Given his place in Hollywood, the Brahma Bull is worth a lot of money to a lot of people, and given that an injury could set back a production months and cost those important people millions, the fact is, The Rock may never wrestle again. But although we may never see the Great One lace up his boots again, The Rock recently confirmed that he will be joining the DC Comics cinematic universe as Black Adam after months of hushed speculation. The Great One confirmed the news while replying to someone making a 1/5 sculpture of him as the iconic DC anti-hero, who rules over the fictional country of Kahndaq. The movie is set to begin shooting in July next year, which also decreases the chances of a WrestleMania 36 match, and while the character didn't appear in this year's Shazam film, he was briefly referenced. Unlike many other roles The Rock has played on screen, such as Fast and Furious's Luke Hobbs, Black Adam is known for being a very serious member of DC's litany of characters, so it'll be interesting to see what the charismatic former world champion brings to the table when shooting begins in July 2020. Kenny Omega is the new AAA Mega Champion. At AAA Heroes Immortales tonight, Omega defeated Phoenix to win the title. Phoenix's nose was busted open at one point in the match. He was pinned after Omega hit the one-winged angel. Phoenix offered Omega a handshake after, but Omega instead posed and held up his title belt. Omega vs. Phoenix was set up by a challenge that Omega issued at Triplemania 27 in August. Phoenix, Pentagon Jr., and Laredo Kid defeated Omega and the Young Bucks at that show. AEW and AAA announced a working relationship between the promotions this February. This is Omega's first title win since losing the IWGP Heavyweight Championship to Hiroshi Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 13 this January. Omega signed with AEW and lost to Chris Jericho at Double or Nothing, with Jericho going on to defeat Hangman Page to become the inaugural AEW World Champion. Omega is currently involved in a storyline with Jon Moxley. They'll face off at AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view on Saturday, November 9th.